Lemonheads, this rules. Everybody buckle in. Guys, everybody buckle in. It's Bryan Callen time. Buckle in. Look at the dislikes on it.
What's up, Austin? What's going on?
Dewey.
Yes, the mothership. Oh, I don't know, man. It's good to be here. It's a weird world, man. I'm on my phone too much, huh? Anybody else get caught in this infinite scroll, this social media, this dopamine scroll? You know what happens? Every day I wake up and I go, I'm not gonna look at my phone. I got 4 kids. I have bills. I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna get caught on social media. But they get you with an image. They capture you, and like I'll just see an image of like a woman in a bikini on a skateboard. No, but I have to make sure she's safe. Right? And then
balls to come out with that joke after you've been accused of rape by like 4 different people? And let's be honest, very credible accusations. I don't know if they were settled out of court or what. I don't have enough time on my hands to go figure that out, but I've seen, I think I read the LA Weekly piece about it, and it was, man, if he didn't do it, the lady that wrote it was really good at capturing his voice. It really sounded like him doing bits between the raping. It sounded a hell of a lot like
later,
him.
You're like, I can't stop, you know? This is what happens. The problem is it gives you desires you shouldn't have, and it makes you feel like you're missing out on life, which is ridiculous. Look what I get to do. And I'm on the other day, I'm scrolling, and a dude does a perfect backflip off a yacht and just disappears into the azure waters of the Mediterranean. And the girls on the yacht are like, woohoo, you know? And I was like, my life sucks. Right?
These guys are all gay. That's I only watched the first 5 minutes, and I like to think I can spot a gay guy from 1,000 miles away. And all of these guys are incredibly homosexual. If they're straight, I mean, how can they do all these very effeminate moves? They have a complicated relationship with their anima. Which is strange because they all look for a father figure in Joe. Which would have, if they have a complicated relationship with their anima, but then they all are seeking a intense personal relationship with Rogan, that would have to mean that Rogan is a leather daddy gay guy. Rogan is the mother goddess for them. Rogan lately on his show has been like, oh my God. I see clips of him and he's like, God, oh my God. He's like West Hollywood sucking cocks in hell gay. He's doing some weird Valley Girl, I'm a gay guy thing. I saw some clip of him with Schultz and he was like, shut up. Oh my God, you die. Shut up. Mark Maron's a fucking douchebag. Like, are you beating off under the table right now? I think Rogan might have a pussy. Like a buck angel pussy down there. It's all very bizarre. He's absolutely a gay guy. He loves fanny packs, wears very tight jeans. He is everybody's idea of what a straight guy is supposed to be. If you were doing an impression of a straight guy, but you didn't know how to be straight, you would say, I'm a fighter. I marry an ex-stripper from Vegas. I mean, who doesn't love strippers? I smoke weed. I'm in insanely good shape. I have a bunch of tattoos. I love Jimi Hendrix and the Rolling Stones. I love rock and roll. And I'm friends with guys who are in the military. That would be your impression of a straight guy if you were trying to pass as a straight. Because if you're not straight, you would have to do everything in your power to convince people you're a straight guy. But then it just keeps slipping through that you are, no matter how many elk you kill, no matter how many beasts you slay, everybody knows you want it up the ass.
Now, then what happens? Then I get to another.
They all beat off the tranny porn. I'm pretty convinced of that. At the very least, they're into tranny porn.
Another reel where a dude, he's a cowboy, a real one. You guys know this. Most of you probably own horses here. And, dude, he's a horseman. He's on a horse, a real cowboy. Hat, buckle, rope. He wrangles cattle. That's his job. Dungarees. Right? Like, this is a man who comes home and he smells like steer, you know? And rawhide. His wife is probably traditional in a prairie dress. She's like, I baked you a pie, you know?
Right? Loves doing impressions of women. So excited to jump into a feminine...
Listen, you know how much we owe to cowboys? You guys eat your steaks. You never think about what it takes. Do you know how unruly cows are? Do you know that cows are like, I'm free, and one of them breaks off? You need somebody to be like, hey, get the fuck up. You know, you have to... a cowboy is nothing less than a man who specializes in breaking crushing, really, any semblance.
What the fuck is this, man? Like, what... I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know what to say anymore. The fact that they promoted this on Rogan's show twice and he did every big pod and everything, he'd been promoting it forever. This is supposedly the epicenter of comedy. This really is this is heading towards disaster down in Austin. It's really heading towards a big disaster.
Feels like an impending...
So now I'm cutting to the closer here, because that's all I can tolerate. If you can watch all of it, God bless you. I can't do it. I can only tolerate 3 minutes of this.
It doesn't feel cozy.
So the closer is a callback to the beginning.
Blockchain. Autonomous robot.
And he thinks it's brilliant. You guys are about to see how brilliant he thinks he is secretly.
I can't wait, you know? And I thought about that too. The grid's not going to break down, but the machines aren't going to kill us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dude. We're going to stomach this. He tells a 10-minute story about seeing a trans person. You know, Stav said they had Austin trans brain?
Because her support system was very, very strong.
Good. I'm glad that the audio keeps... I'm glad that they use some of the speakers in the back. They use the room mic more sometimes. I like that. I like that it goes in and out. Sometimes it sounds like it was recorded in a cavern. Sometimes it sounds like it was recorded off a phone.
This zeitgeist, not mine. And I always think about why. It's very interesting, you know?
But this bit is very uncomfortable.
And I just think about, because when I was growing up, there was one transgender person.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
And then I had my old guy.
Here we go.
It stopped above the knee. It's funny how the world changes and you're the last to know.
So he said on The Fighter and the Kid that everybody was here. Lex Friedman, the Black Rifle Coffee guy, a bunch of big people, and everybody you would see at a Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura vodka part. What's their vodka called? Turning to my producers, not here. What's their vodka called? Some sort of party like that. Everybody is there. The Veterans Forgotten Something Project, he's there. They're all there. Bryan Callen listed off, he loves naming celebrities. He listed off everybody that was there in attendance. Last 10 minutes, he's talking about transgender people, which Mark Maron told us they're all talking about constantly. Here's a 10-minute bit about the time Bryan Callen saw a trans person.
About it. That's the other thing about
Dan
being
Crenshaw
older,
was there too. That's right, Dan Crenshaw.
Is like you realize you're a little calcified, not just physically, but also culturally. Like I walked into a coffee shop right here in Austin, right here, and behind the counter was a young person making espressos, and it looked like it was a man. I mean, I don't know how he identifies. I don't want to, but he had a beard, a pronounced beard, and he was also wearing a lovely summer dress. Lovely. But it had straps, a floral pattern. It stopped above the knee. and he was wearing cork wedges. He was standing on 5 inches of cork, which is, to me, to have no traction under your feet is irresponsible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if I come at you? What the fuck? You know, anyway, and I'm not here to make fun of anybody for wearing a dress like that. I'm not that kind of comic. I don't make fun of people.
I'm not that kind of comic. Here's my 10-minute bit about trans people. I'm not the kind of comic that would do a 10-minute bit about trans people. So let me preface this before I do my 10-minute bit about trans people. Here we go. Everyone buckle in. We're being brought home. He's bringing it all around right here.
I never made fun of gay people, even in the 90s when it was fashionable. So that's not, I'm not here to do that. But I will say that just aesthetically, like a summer dress, to go from that to a beard. So there's probably a reason that look hasn't caught on historically. Right? Because it's just so abrupt on the eye.
You just said you weren't the type of comic to make fun of trans people. And then you're doing it. You're doing it. Either do it or don't. Either do it or don't, Bryan. You are lukewarm. I spit you out of my mouth. And he's getting nothing. He's bombing.
For me, just to go from a dress, it's like going from a sensual massage to a flying headlock, you know? Visually. And so I thought that I had all these thoughts. And then I had my old guy thoughts. I couldn't believe it. It looked like chaos to me. It looked scary. It triggered me. It did. I was like, this is cats and dogs living together. You can't just decide you're going to wear a dress. What the fuck, you know? It's like, how are we going to compete with China, you know? Like, I went through these stupid thoughts. I was like, we got to bring back the draft maybe now, you know?
Have you ever heard comics talk, by the way? They're like, I couldn't get a joke to work. And then when I say the word China, I enunciate it, or like when I say the word now, I go now like that, and then it gets a laugh. But if I don't do it, then people don't laugh, and it's like, well, how about making the idea funny? How about having a different angle then? They're just admitting they're doing a bar trick of, well, I can't get them to pay attention to the left hand, so I can do the thing with the right that I need. So I actually have a kazoo and I do this. Well, what about how about just being funny? Have you thought about just being funny? I hear comics all the time talk about, like, I have this bit, and when I say the word jail, no one laughs. But if I go jail like that, then it gets a pop. And I'm like, do you have any respect for what you do? Do you have any respect for this at all? You like doing this every night of walking on stage and thinking, when I say now in that bit, make sure to go now. Like, watch. Like,
I went through these stupid thoughts. I was like, we got to bring back the draft maybe now.
Maybe
you know?
now.
And that was all.
And then he goes to Brendan Schaub, and then he goes, yeah, I didn't get a laugh, but the other night, but then I do now, and I point like that, and then it gets a hit. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. That's all you care about? That's all you care about is saying a word slightly different. And they say these things thousands of times.
Oh, and I just couldn't get it. And it's like, it's the new hippie, the new punk rock. Maybe also just being older and seeing all these young kids who probably majored in equality. And, you know, and I'm.
Wow, good one. Where'd you get that one from, Bryan? A 2012 Time Machine? Good one, buddy.
I'm just not my generation. And he's wearing a dress and a beard, and it just looked like a.
We get it. Do the bit that you said you don't do because you're not this type of comic. Do it. Move on. It sounds like you just want to get fucked up the ass by a transgender man. How many times can you say she's wearing a summer dress and has a beard? Just go in the back room and beat off. We'll wait for you. Then come back and move on to something else. Jesus Christ.
Evolution. It looked like change that I wasn't included in. That's what happens when I see young people ambitious. Let's change the world. You know, when I hear young people say that, like you hear let's change the world. I hear let's kill everybody over 50. You know, right? Maybe it makes some sense. I kept thinking about that. I was like, the whole transgender movement, that happened in this zeitgeist, not mine. And I always think about why. It's very interesting, you know? And I just think about, because when I was growing up, there was one transgender person, and they did a 60-minute special about them. And I know. And now, like, 30% of you are trans. I don't know. But, like, well, I don't know what it's very interesting to me.
See, it's not even hitting in this room. it's bombing. This is the equivalent of whiffing a ball that's placed on a tee for you. This is T-ball, and the little kid misses, and he spins around a bunch and then hits the bat on the back of his head. Dan Crenshaw's in there. Lex Friedman, all of the IDW people, the Culture War people, Black Rifle Coffee's in there. Alpha Brain's in there. They're all in there. This is the Joe Rogan Comedy Club, and you can't get your transgender closer. This is his closer. Reminder, the closer's always the strongest bit for comics.
Because it kind of happened. Well, it happened 2015 when Bruce Jenner had an 8-hour operation, and he woke up Caitlyn Jenner, and then a minute later he won Woman of the Year. And that, I remember that. That was crazy. And I remember I'm just a bunch of like conservatives and traditional Americans. I was like, I have some questions, you know? And we quickly found
bombing. He's bombing. Bombing bad. This is a big bomb. These guys put out specials where they're bombing. You know how comedians are supposed to have all this awareness? Yeah, they don't have that. Not only are they not funny, they're not aware in any way. If they were, they wouldn't do comedy.
Questions was over, bigot. This has all been settled science. We don't need your voice. We saw what you did to the other minorities, Whitey. You know? And I was like, what? And
Cut to 4 minutes earlier, he said, I'm not the type of comic to make fun of trans people, okay? I don't do bits about trans people. And then cut to this.
Now the time for questions was over, bigot. This has all been settled science. We don't need your voice. We saw what you did to the other minorities, Whitey. You know? And I was like, what? And
bombing. His closer, it's Bryan, put out, just like the other hacks, just put out a 35-minute special. Like all the hacks that came before you in the past 5 years, put out a half-hour special. You gotta throw out this whole thing. He thinks it's brilliant, though. He thinks it's prescient. He thinks there's going to be some sort of seismic cultural shift because of his special. We'll get into that on his podcast where he talks about how let down he is about the response of his special.
Because her support system was very, very strong. I mean, and vast. I mean, I'm talking about, well, I don't know, let's see. All of the fashion industry, all of Hollywood, all of corporate America, all of legacy media, all of big tech. And that's a formidable group of people.
Great.
They can make
his audio
or break
shit.
You know, and then Caitlyn Jenner came out of the Republican. They were like, fuck that guy. Yeah. But something else interesting was going on.
Applause break because there's so much tension. They're trying to help him out of it. These comics get applause breaks and they think it's well deserved and that the crowd is on their side, and really they feel bad for him. We're throwing you you told us you could swim really well. You jumped off the boat. You're out at sea and you're drowning. Talking about how good you are at swimming. We're throwing you a life preserver here. We feel horrible for you. Come in. We get it. You can swim. Just don't die on us. Come back to the boat.
Because she was a bad poster girl for the movement anyway. Because who can afford all that surgery? And being trans was not about surgery. It was about an inner narrative. It was about an inner feeling. It was about something that you cannot describe.
You're gay.
Something that's so sacred and deep.
You're so gay, dude.
And we were told that this was the most vulnerable minority. And they are statistically. They're the ones most...
You know, these guys try to rape the gay out of themselves. They try to rape women to prove they're not gay guys. That's really what it is. And they have to rape because they don't have game because they're gay. Because they'd much rather be sliding into a man's ass than a pussy.
Most likely to cause self-harm and worse. And so suddenly it was like the feelings became sacrosanct, new for my generation. If you were talking about feelings in my generation,
Bryan's one of those thinky comics. He uses the word sacrosanct. Remember when instead of saying blue earlier, he said azure? He's one of those thinky comics.
If you were talking about how something felt, you better be talking about shoes, bitch. But this was different.
Bomb.
This was new. And by the way...
Bomb. One bomb after another. They gave him a fake applause break. He keeps bombing. They're like, please move out of this. Please move out of this.
This wasn't...
And they all agree with him, too.
just about protecting feelings. This was about saving lives. So that's why, if you had any naysayers, they had to be de-amplified, de-emphasized, de-platformed, defunded, destroyed. So you better be careful. So be on the right side of history. Yeah. But I was looking at this kid with the dress.
Look how proud he is of himself after he delivers this line. He thinks he's a genius. Dude, he really thinks he's a genius. Dude, I've never said something the way he just delivered that. I've never been proud of a single word that's come out of my mouth. I'm embarrassed by everything I've ever said. I'm embarrassed every day. I hate who I am. To be this proud of yourself for having this thought is crazy.
By the way, this wasn't just about protecting.
This is, you need to be locked up in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You need a lobotomy. You need medication. You need something.
Feelings. This was about saving lives. So that's why, if you had any naysayers, they had to be de-amplified, de-emphasized, de-platformed, defunded, destroyed. So you better be careful. So be on the right side of history. Yeah. But I was looking at this kid with the dress and the beard, and I thought, I'm probably...
That's a weird cut, too.
...out of history. Yeah. But I was looking at this kid with the dress and the beard, and I thought, I'm probably looking at a white minority, which is wild. You can be white and you can be a minority now. And that's wild. And it's very unique because, you know, for black people and brown people and indigenous people, for them to become minorities, they had to go through hundreds of years of brutal colonization and slavery. But now you can have blonde hair and blue eyes, be white as the driven snow, and you can be a minority on the same level because you feel like one. That's hacking the system, baby. Yeah.
Jeez, dude, they're giving him another one. They're like, please just get out of the bit. Please move on to anything. Please just go back to pretending to ride a horse like this, Bryan, or doing an act out as a guy at Equinox. Holy shit.
Leave it up to white people, man. They're great. White people are like, I'm not saying there aren't real trans people. That's not what I'm saying here, because there are. I'm just saying there are grifters in every community. Yeah, man. It's wild. I mean, now you can be white and you can be a bigger minority than a black man. Just ask Dave Chappelle. Hey, listen.
Man. I did watch this last 10 minutes. I forgot I did, and I've wiped it from my memory. It's so tough, man. I feel bad for these people. I don't have anger at them anymore. I pity them. I feel horrible for them. They're so... Look, I don't know what the right life to live is, man, but it's not this. These people are lost. These people are damned. This is so sad. They all prop themselves up by pretending they're, you know, in this brotherhood. They're not, like, you know, vampiric sociopaths. Like, they all are just in this union where they pretend they're all really funny, and it's tricked the world. It's so strange.
I know that
these people have made millions doing this. I don't know why. Don't know why. There's actually nothing funny about them. And there's nothing, you can't even then say, yeah, but they're really smart. You can be like, yeah, they're not funny, but I like their ideas. They're always saying something someone said 13 years ago. But they say it with this smile. Like they're Plato or something.
I mean, now you can be white and you can be a bigger minority than a black man. Just ask Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I know that's a tough section of my presentation. And, you know,
they suck. They suck. He knows he's bombing now because now he's pulling back and calling it a presentation. He's trying to say, I wasn't even doing comedy there. I was just trying to teach you. I was trying to enlighten you for a second.
Some people find that offensive, and I honor your feelings. I really do. But at least honor the fact that that's the way I feel about it. I can't leave you like that, though.
Dude, you can't. I can't leave you like that because you're not laughing. They gave him 3, like, please, the relief that he's wiping himself with the towel. They're like, oh, thank God he's finally moving on from talking about gay guys. That was even uncomfortable for me, and I hate him too. I hate him.
I don't want to be the old guy making fun of a kid in a dress and a beard, and I don't think I was, but it might sound that way.
Dude, if this wasn't a recorded special, he wouldn't even be getting a lot of the sympathy applause breaks. It would just be bombing, which is so hard to do in that room. I've heard from people that go up at the mothership, you can basically just go, yeah, that's a lot of, I was just in, you go up at the mothership, you go like, I was just in Baltimore. Not a lot of white people up there, a lot of black people, in fact. And that gets a laugh. Just mentioning black people, mentioning gay people, mentioning these things, people, it's like an uproarious laughter. If you watch Hinchcliffe's special, Tony Hinchcliffe's, he keeps saying the things you can't say. That's a lot of these guys, they put out specials. They're like, you can't talk about Israel. Or they'll say, you can't talk about black people. You can't talk. And they start listing all the things you're not allowed to talk about. And this evokes laughter. Just even the idea of these things existing or being talked about. It's all very strange. Very, very strange.
I want to be the old guy making fun of a kid in a dress and a beard. And I don't think I was, but it might sound that way. Because I got to go deeper. And I thought to myself, what is it about this zeitgeist? Why did that trans movement take place in this zeitgeist? Why not mine? I would have loved to have worn a dress and a beard. Seriously, just to mess with my dad. And my dad was a Marine. To walk up to my dad in a dress and a beard just to watch his head explode, just to be like, Dad, guess what? I'm not your son. I'm not your daughter. I'm neither, or both. He'd lose his mind, but that wasn't even available. So what about this? What is it about this zeitgeist? Why does that make some sense? And I thought to myself, maybe wearing a dress and a beard is the only thing left for young people to do when they want to feel like some kind of a mystery.
Dude, stop. Bryan. You suck ass, man. You fucking suck ass. Bryan. You suck ass. You gotta go, dude. This has to be the last time you ever show your face in public. You need to be exiled from Earth. We need to shoot you into space. This is bad. This is embarrassing. You're an embarrassment. You're an absolute embarrassment. You suck ass.
Why does that make some sense? And I thought to myself, maybe wearing a dress and a beard is the only thing left for young people to do when they want to feel like some kind of a mystery. Some kind of a unique individual. Maybe it's very natural for a young person to want to be unboxable, unknowable, undefinable. And that's the only silent howl that kid can manage, because we live in a world where they know everything about you. That kid's never not been on camera, ever. I remember privacy. I remember it very well, but those planes hit those buildings and we were so afraid. We looked at the government and we said, we'll give you our privacy if you give us our safety. And they were like, how about we do you one better than that? How about a camera and a mic in everybody's hand? And now you're always on camera, my brothers and sisters. You get away with nothing. They do know everything about you. You're an algorithm, a pile of data, and it's all up there. You think you can hide with a hood and a mask? That kid should have talked to me before he carried out that terrible assassination, that dumb. They got cameras. They got cameras that can recognize your gait. Your particular walk is up in the cloud.
You're a conspiracy guy and you buy the Tyler Robinson thing? Is that what he's talking about?
That kid should have talked to me before he know everything about you.
There's so many things I want to say about this, but I'm kind of in awe of this, actually.
An algorithm, a pile of data, and it's all up there. You think you can hide with a hood and a mask? That kid should have talked to me before he carried out that terrible assassination, that dumb.
Now, is he talking about Luigi Mangione?
They got cameras. They got cameras that can recognize your gait. Your particular walk is up in the cloud. They can shoot a laser into your heart and pick up your heart signature. How about this? They know a woman is pregnant before she does based on her migratory shopping patterns, motherfuckers. Huh? Yeah, that's right. They know everything about you. You ain't a mystery. You're just a number. They know what you like and what you don't like. They know what stops your thumb. They know what dilates your eyeball. They know what glazes.
Dude, oh my God. Bryan, you suck. Bryan, you suck my ass. You're the worst comic to ever live. Congratulations. This is so much worse than the Gringo Poppy. At least Schaub stayed in his lane. He just did bits and made up, bits. At least he just tried to do jokes. He tried to do the job. You're the worst comic to ever live, Bryan Callen. I want you to know that.
Is it over? They can
This is crazy.
Motherfuckers. Huh? Yeah, that's right. They know
He should be arrested for this. He should go to court. He should have to get a lawyer. He has to represent himself in court. This is a crime.
everything about
This should be a crime.
You ain't a mystery. You're just a number. They know what you like and what you don't like. They know what stops your thumb. They know what dilates your eyeball. They know what glazes it over. They can program you to hate what they hate, and they can definitely program you to love what they already have for sale. And when I say they, does anybody know who the hell I'm talking about? Because I don't. I know there are a lot of theories. I don't even think it's people anymore. I think it's the machines, man. I really do. I think it's the machines. And I was thinking about that too as I looked at that kid's shoes. And I thought to myself, damn, I think I've been getting ready for the wrong enemy. Because I've been waiting for the grid to break down. That's why I practice jujitsu. That's why I have guns. That's why we live in Texas, right, guys? That's why, right? Yeah. You got access to a well.
Let's see. We started this at 47. How many legitimate laughs has he had in 9 minutes here? We're almost on the final punchline. Punchline, quote unquote. It doesn't get a laugh, but I mean, would you say he's had 3 laughs, maybe? Like 3 real punchlines in 8 minutes? This is.
Well, your garage.
And it's so funny. Anki said this is Nanette for guys who watch JRE. I mean, Nanette had more punchlines. Back then, we said Nanette was anti-comedy. It was actually a lot funnier than this. The ideas were presented much better. The production value was better. It was at least different. I wasn't seeing stuff like that at the time. Yeah, Nanette is 1,000 times better than that. If you went back and watched Nanette, I don't even think it'd be that bad.
Yeah, you got access to a well. Your garage is across.
At least Nanette is interesting. Y'all was raped? All right. How's it going, everybody? I was raped a bunch. Some bloke raped me. Ha ha ha, yes. He raped me with a knife. He raped me with a big knife. Had me down and raped me. All right. Very good.
You got access to a. That's why we live in Texas, right, guys? That's why, right? Yeah. You got access to a well. Your garage is a CrossFit gym in case you got to climb a rope, and the stairs break down in the apocalypse. I don't know what you're looking for, but either way, you got a freezer full of game meat. Yeah, good luck. Good luck arm barring AI gone bad, huh? What's the point of learning anything when AI can do it better tomorrow? That's the other thing that kid is facing. Thought to myself, the future for me, bright, something I could predict. For that kid, it feels like an impending tsunami. It doesn't feel cozy. Blockchain.
So if you don't realize, he's if you can't follow along, he's talking about from when he sees the trans person. And I once saw a trans person in a dress. Nothing happens. That he started 2 minutes ago. He's still talking about that trans person. So.
Autonomous robots. I can't wait, And I thought about that too. The grid's not going to break down, but the machines aren't going to kill us. They don't have to. Why would you kill your own slaves? Yeah, man. You think the iPhone 16?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I started to think that the machines are going to enslave us all and they won't kill us. Why would you kill your own slaves? Some girl goes, what? And he goes, yeah, man. The fact that not only did he perform this night after night to perfect the routine, forget the genesis of it. He perfected it, quote unquote. Worked it out a bunch. Then after he shot it, he knew the result in real time. And then in the edit bay, he confirmed it time and time again, trying to edit the special, trying to cut the certain shots, cut out certain bits, splice together 2 shows, and still he uploaded it and sent it out. This is unbelievable. This is unforgettable. Bryan Callen, you're the worst comedian to ever live.
I've gone bad, huh? What's the point of learning anything when AI can do it better tomorrow? That's the other thing that kid is facing. Thought to myself, the future for me, bright, something I could predict. For that kid, it feels like an impending tsunami. It doesn't feel cozy. Blockchain. Autonomous robots. I can't wait, you know? And I thought about that too. The grid's not going to break down, but the machines aren't going to kill us. They don't have to. Why would you kill your own slaves? Yeah, man.
Yeah,
you think
man.
the iPhone 16 is addictive? Wait till AI 1000 gets here. Whew. Damn. And I thought about that too as I looked around that coffee shop and I saw everybody bent over their phones like broken monks in this unholy communion, just having thoughts, thinking they wanted to be somebody else, wanted to be somewhere else, just dragging their thumbs, just a nation of drug addicts. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. And I thought to myself, damn. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine I can't turn myself away from. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine is also called the Apple. Thank you very much.
So for anybody who actually is dumbfounded by that, yes, he's referring to the apple in the Garden of Eden. Even though it's not actually an apple, he's calling it an apple, whatever. Steve Jobs named his daughter Eve because she was the first woman to eat the apple. It's not an apple. It's thought of to be an apple. Regardless, whatever. Who gives a shit? He's a retard. He should absolutely kill himself. He's the worst comedian to ever live. That is appalling. Bryan Callen is the new king of bad comedy. I didn't know it was that bad. All these guys have been doing this stuff. And Marin told us when he's at the comedy clubs, he goes in every room and everybody's just doing this boring hack 10-minute bit about trans people. And then you see this and you go, well, I got to give it up for you. I got to give it up for Marin. I got to give it up to Jesselnick and all of them. You know, hey, man. This is one of those things where you go, I mean, is this guy... Do you want this guy on your side at all about anything? If whatever group this guy is in, you got to run from. That's embarrassing.
Dopamine,
that's embarrassing.
Cortisol, adrenaline. And I thought to myself, damn, maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine I can't turn myself away from. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine is also called the Apple. Thank you very much.
Damn, I'd be thinking.
Feel very lucky. God bless. Thank you so much.
It is almost like watching AI. You don't even know if it's real.
But she straight from the woods, she matched my energy. Sending me naked pictures, I'm balling like honey me.
And then here's all the people behind the scenes. Here they are. Here's all the people behind the scenes. Here they are. Here's my opener. Just a guy who wears a hat, like a hat that levitates. I just wear a hat that like levitates all my shit, and I'm like, damn, motherfuckers out here smoking. Y'all like weed. What happened to weed? Like growing up, it was like from my parents, I had the seeds in it and they pop, and now weed is like, that shit's like heroin. All right, give it up for motherfucking Bert Kreischer, y'all. Y'all saw Bert Kreischer drop in. Y'all ready to see Bryan Callen now? I'm just a guy, my hat fucking just, it levitates on my shit. I'm the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived. I'm the dumbest motherfucker. The Nation of Islam is right about white people. We're retarded as shit. I'm just a retard. I'm a retard who opens for Bryan Callen. My name is Sean Frazzoli. They all love the hype beast stuff too. We just pull up. We just look what I get to do. I have the greatest job in the world. I get to travel all over the country, raping women, and doing stand-up comedy in every city, meeting fans, and raping them. I rape them with my thoughts, I rape them with my comedy, and I rape them with my dick. I love to, my name's Bryan Callen, I love to rape. My dad was in the CIA and I love to rape.